Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl, and thank you for joining me today. In today's live broadcast, I wanted to give you a really quick update of where I've been, what I've been doing, and I am so glad to be back and to be talking with you again. I live in Bonita Springs, Florida, and on September 5th, about 3 weeks ago, the Weather Channel started saying that we had a Category 5 hurricane coming our way named Irma. And I dropped everything I was doing and thought, now that it's a Category 5, it was still days away. I thought it was important to run to the store and start buying up some water, get some gas in my car. And so on September 3rd, it was the last day I was able to get gas before the gas shortage started, 5 days before the hurricane. Last day I was able to get ice, 5 days prior to the hurricane. And the rest of the week was spent just scrambling, getting orders out, trying to get as much done for work before the storm hit. Then the storm hit on Sunday, which, whatever that day was, I guess it might have been the 9th. Hard to say because we lost power, internet, cellular, everything by then. So we've already had ice shortage, food shortage, water shortage, and gas shortage. Then at that point we had no power, cellular, or internet, and that lasted for my house for 8 days after the storm. Turns out the eye went right over my house, and I didn't know till after the fact, obviously without knowing what was going on. So those 5 days from finding out it was a Category 5 until the storm actually hit, I was not only scrambling to get as many orders as I could get shipped out before the post office closed 3 days prior to that. So the first few days were getting orders shipped out. Then it was packing up everything that I thought I didn't want to lose in case my house got damaged. So all my computer equipment, all my video equipment, everything I could secure and make waterproof and lock up tight, I did for those next couple of days. Then once the hurricane came and went, I was very grateful to find out my family was safe, my house survived, and without having internet or cellular or power, it was really difficult to catch up with anyone else outside of my home. But in the next couple of days, navigating around flooding and what have you, I was able to find out that my friends were okay. After that, it was 8 days of no power, so 8 days of not being able to get in touch with my customers, not being able to ship, all that sort of thing. And then after that, it was helping other people who were even less fortunate than me. We had 2 weeks of most people being without power, and sorry, we still have lots of people who lost their homes, are still flooded. There are people that are still in shelters. And so even though I've been working to get my life back together, I've also spent a lot of time trying to help other people who are way less fortunate than me. It's been the week after the storm, while we had no power, we were chasing down ice and water and food for the kids, and took another whole week before there was enough gas to get gas in the gas station without waiting 3 hours in line. So I mean, there were just so many experiences that, unless you live in a war zone or in a third world country, it was really shocking to have so many shortages and so many decisions completely ripped out of your control. But anyway, having said all that, it's been a long 3 weeks. And I'm so glad to be here talking to all of you again, and I appreciate you joining me today. And I thought it would be fun to tell you that despite all of the challenges that I had, hi Eileen, thanks for joining today. Yeah, there've been storms all over the place too. She was mentioning Kentucky. My hurricane was the one after Harvey that did so much devastation in Texas, and then Jose and Maria have done even further damage to the Caribbean again, and now Puerto Rico. There have been earthquakes in multiple places in Mexico, and because I haven't had a whole lot of access to news, I'm sure there have been other horrible situations as well. And my heart goes out to all these people, and I pray that everybody gets back on their feet as soon as possible. And so, going off on a tangent again, sorry. What I wanted to tell you is that during all of this time, whether I was here without power or driving around town, going to places where I could help people get food or ice, help people get their homes put back together, help people do laundry. We still have water shortages at this point. And oh, hi Judy, thanks for joining. But I wanted to show you that this is what I carried around with me for the last 3 weeks. And it's 2 Rubbermaid bins, one nestled inside the other. And this has been book 14, and it has gone with me every single place I've gone for the last 3 weeks. It goes in the car with me. It goes to a friend's house that needs help. It has gone to shelter drop-off locations. Wherever I've gone to meet people, wait for people, help people, or just sit here, I have brought these 2 bins with me everywhere I've gone, and it's been great because any amount of downtime, whether it's 15 minutes here, a couple hours there, I've been able to work on my book projects and gotten a lot done, thank God. So glad that I was able to find a way to still stay productive during this horribly devastating time in my community and in my family's life. So there was one point when it was during a gas shortage, and I had dropped off supplies to one location, and I had a friend that lived a couple blocks away, and I thought, well, and she wanted me to come visit with her while she was helping do laundry for other people who didn't have power. And I thought, well, I'm gonna walk over there because I don't want to waste my gas because I only have a half a tank and I didn't know when gas was going to be available. So I walked down the street without sidewalks, like just on the shoulder, carrying these. And it was terrible because I didn't realize it, but it made me look like I was less fortunate than I was. And people kept stopping to ask me if I was okay. And it's because I probably looked like I was carrying everything I owned in this bin, which, can you believe that that's how bad it was here? If you saw someone walking down the street with a bin, it was easy to assume that that was their life in there. There was one day I was driving down the road and there was flooding on a side street, and there were 2 people walking in water up to their thighs, carrying laundry baskets over their heads, and you could tell that they were carrying their belongings in those bins. And so I felt really badly when I was carrying these and people were stopping, and a fireman in a fire truck stopped and asked me if I needed a ride and asked me if I was okay, and I was like, didn't want to ramble on and tell him my whole story that this was yarn in my book. But needless to say, I have carried this everywhere the last few weeks, and it's probably not the best time to start showing you projects. I'll save that for a future update, but I will be happy to share with you the subject matter today. I have yet to tell anybody what the subject matter is for book 14, and I'm happy to tell you that it is inclusive of both knitting and crochet. It's going to be a book of shawls in knitting and crochet, and there is a specific theme to it, but I will share that with you in a future update. So it's going to be knit and crochet shawls with a specific theme to it, and it's coming along really nicely. I've got a lot of the charts written. I've got a lot of the instructions done. I have most of the samples done. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, not most of them, but more than half of them are done. More than half are completely done, like woven in ends, blocked, everything. And then there are a couple of them that are partially done, and there's only a couple that haven't been started yet. And it's going to be 50-50 knitting and crochet, and it's all going to be shawls, but there will be a specific theme to the shawls, and I'm going to share that with you another time. I know several of you have left comments and I did not reply to all of them because I was talking and getting so choked up. Hi Esther, thanks for watching, but thank you all for commenting. Chris, yes, I do make all of the samples for all of my books. I always have, maybe one or two exceptions, but for the most part, I do all my own samples, and it just makes it feel really personal to me. I will be interviewing for some technical editors in the coming months, or not coming months, coming weeks. And hi Kim, thanks for joining from Iowa. Chris, yes, it is lots of work, but it makes it more personal that way. I mean, you know, for the rest of the lifetime of my book, people will ask questions about things, and I find that it's easier for me to remember years later when asked questions if I actually made them myself. One of the other things that will be special about this book is that thanks to my YouTube channel and my tutorial videos, there will be tutorial videos on all of the shawls when the book comes out too. And I think that that's going to be a really fun, interactive way to really get the most out of a purchase of a book. So hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. I have not started those yet. This is the first time in September I've even turned on my video camera. It took several days to get everything unpacked in this little space, and sorry to say that these didn't actually survive the storm very well. I know you might remember when I put together this mural, and I had to take it down to make sure that everything was secure for the hurricane, and it looks like they didn't really survive all the heat and humidity with no AC in the house for a week. It got really, really hot in here. In fact, the hottest day, I live on the second floor, and you know, without air for 8 days, you can imagine it got pretty hot in this time of year in South Florida. But I think it got up to around 95 on the hottest day, and then it went down to like 89 in here at night, which is kind of hot. But you know, I remember when I was a kid, and we didn't have air conditioning when I was a kid, and my mom used to put us in wet t-shirts to go to bed at night. And so I thought it was, as long as I kept the windows open, there was even the most minor breeze that would come through, staying in wet clothes was really a great way to keep cool at night to help me sleep. And reading by flashlight was another way to stay distracted too. But anyway, this, I'm not sure if these are going to flatten out over time. They've only been put back up a couple of days, but if not, maybe I'll try to flatten them out between a couple of heavy books. They're looking a little better today than they were the day I put them back, so we'll see. The other thing is I haven't been able to dye yarn for a while because we've had water shortages. First we were on boil notice where we couldn't drink our water without boiling it first, and that came in really handy because of the water shortage at the stores. You couldn't even buy bottled water for weeks, so that was handy. But then once the water was safe to drink, it was still limited use. They didn't want you to use your dishwasher or your washing machine because the extra water use was making the sewage system get all funky. And I don't know much about that other than they told us not to use any more than we absolutely needed. So I thought dyeing yarn seemed awfully selfish. So hi Lynn, thanks for watching, and thank you so much for your good wishes. So it looks like, and I'm going to double check on my the government website or the utility website for my area to make sure that it's finally safe today. But as long as it is, I'm hoping to start dyeing yarn again tonight or tomorrow morning. So that'll be exciting to get that part of work back up and running again as well. And so I just wanted to jump in today and say hi. Thank you all for so many amazingly kind and thoughtful prayers and well wishes over the last month. Even when I wasn't able to reply but could read them, they were really, really special. And it really meant a lot to me. So I knew I'd get choked up today, but I didn't know how hard it was going to be. But I just want you to know that you really mean a lot to me, and all the sweet things that you said to me during this time were really thoughtful and really meant a lot. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so kind and supportive. And I think we're going to get back to teaching knitting and crochet very soon. So please look for a new tutorial video coming soon. I actually, this is the first time I even put makeup on this month. Haven't done my nails yet, but just been too focused on everybody else around me. And so it's time to get back to work. Feel wonderful about that. And I'll talk to you really soon, and we're going to talk about beautiful yarn and thoughtful projects and all kinds of good stuff. So thanks again, and I will talk to you soon.